Cain. Pretty short video. This is just going to be a little recap and then what you need to do next. So the excerpt from Genesis was the Bible story in which Cain and Abel bring an offering to God. God likes Abel's. He's not so pleased with Cain's. Cain gets upset. He gets jealous, and so he decides to murder his brother and gets punished for it. And then the last diary entry of John Wilkes Booth is an argument for why he felt like he had to assassinate President Lincoln. He wrote it after the fact, and he's trying to argue that he was justified. He had a right to do it. It was the right thing to do. It was really the only thing that could be done in order to preserve the country. Now, keep in mind, it's very important to note, he says in the text that he does not believe that the government is going to allow anybody to ever read this. So if he's trying to make an argument, if he's trying to convince his reader, who he doesn't think is ever going to exist, that he was justified, who is he really trying to convince? Right? So here's your task. Here's what you need to do with this. Pretty straightforward. You are going to use text evidence to craft a response to the following questions. You must use text evidence to support your answers. This is not speculation. It's based off of what you've read. All right, so first off, why does Booth say that he has Cain's curse? Remember that Cain's curse was to wander the earth outside of Eden until he died, and that he was protected from anybody trying to do him harm, because that harm would be visited upon them sevenfold, 7 times over, if they tried to do anything to him. So if somebody tried to punch him once, they would essentially get the injury of getting punched 7 times instead. It's kind of a simplified version of it. But anyway, so why does Booth say that he has Cain's curse? What is happening to him that he's reflecting on in this diary entry that he feels like is the same? And then is he justified in making that comparison? And this is not just a simple yes or no. The question there is what is happening to him as a result of his actions the same or similar enough to what happened to Cain as a result of his actions? And then finally, how does he use references to the Bible to make his point? He periodically talks about his relationship with God, or how God is going to respond to something. He makes references to the story of Cain and Abel. And how does he use those to make his point? How does he try to use those to show that he is justified in having assassinated President Lincoln? Because that is ultimately what he's trying to do. He's trying to use the Bible to justify the murder of President Lincoln. Like I said, you need to use text evidence. The way that you structure this isn't super important, as long as you've answered all 3 of the questions and supported them using evidence from the text. You may not use evidence from both texts. That's fine. You probably will need to, though, to make this a solid answer.